Hi guys, it's Calvin with Utah Worm Company. Today I just wanted to share with you what we do to prepare for winter in this portion of our worm farm. So we have two different locations right here in our third car garage. We have our worm bins that have worms that are ready to ship out. Also where we do a little bit of experimenting to see how we can increase production and just another place to store worms. And so in the wintertime, it still gets cold in here, even though the walls are insulated. Here in Utah, it can get down into the teens, into the single digits. And when you get to that point, your worms are going to stress and they're not going to produce like you want them to. And so I'm just going to show you today what we do to help with that production and to keep our worms happy. So one of the first things you can do, one thing to note is composting worms live on the organic material of the earth. They're not like Canadian night crawlers that will dive down deep to get away from the frost level. They just are not going to do that. And so you've got to be really careful about making sure that whatever system your worms are in, that you protect them from freezing. Now they can handle pretty cool temperatures, but to really maximize your production, whether you're composting or whether you're breeding, you want to keep them in between that 60 to 80 degree range. And so bringing them inside from outside, during the winter months is going to help you with that. So one thing that we do is we have our composting bin, and that's a lot of people question whether now is the time to be composting or not. And a lot of people say, well, I'm going to buy my worms in the spring and then I'll start composting then. But by that time, you may not be able to produce enough casting for your needs. And so I always recommend to people that really the wintertime is when you should be composting, especially in a simple setting like this, so that you can save those castings and then use them in the winter or the springtime when you're ready to plant. And it's very simple to do. You can do it with very little space. So this is just a regular breeder bin or a composting bin. It's either, right? I use them for breeder bins and I use them for composting bins. And so it takes very little space in your garage, and you can pump a lot of castings out during the winter time. So what we do to keep it warm is we have a video to where you can successfully make a worm bin, and that's on our video list. But what we do is we use these seed mats. And during the coldest time of the months, we'll kick these seed mats on, and that will keep our bins warm. Now, they're not created equal. Some of them have thermostats. If you can afford the ones with thermostats, then do that. We bought some that were just your standard seed mat that goes to a certain temperature and stops. And just because of cost, we bought them in bulk. And so a lot of them do a good job. Some of them can get a little bit too warm. And if you get to that point, like this one here, I just turned it off. But right now it's sitting at about 85 degrees. And I use a stem thermometer to check the temperatures often. And so that's 85 degrees. I'm okay with that temperature. They thrive in that temperature. Any hotter than that, I think it stresses them out a little bit. And so I want to bring that down. And so if you get to that spot where it's a little bit too warm, you can put something underneath that heat map, maybe like a 1x1 or a 1x2 underneath this bin, and it will elevate that off to get some airflow and to bring that temperature down of your bin. And so that's just a way of being able to do that in the wintertime. If you have a shelf in your garage and you know it's empty and you want to put something on there, put a worm bin on there. And then as you go through the winter, you'll have something fun and exciting to watch and watch what the worms do. And then you can extract the castings out and start another worm bin over and over again. And by the time spring comes around, you're ready to plant with a lot of castings. And if you haven't planted with castings, you're missing out. So anybody that has a garden should use worm castings. So anyway, but that's what they're doing. These worms right here, they are super healthy, as you can see. I don't know if you can see from that far away, but they are healthy and they are composting like crazy. So it works really, really well. Very simple. And then now I'm going to show you kind of some of the other things that we do that works for us. Like there's no exact answer or right answer, but I can tell you what we do in here keeps enough heat. It doesn't drain a ton of energy, and it keeps our worms warm and happy, and we are successful throughout the winter. So thank you for watching. If you have any questions as we go along here, just put them in the comments and I will answer those. You can reach out to me by phone, text, email, and I'll try to answer those for you. So Thank you for watching, and hopefully this helps you with some ideas that'll help you to winterize your own worm farm or get you excited to compost through the winter. So, okay, so I'm going to try to keep this as steady as I can. But so this is what our winterization looks like for the worm farm. And what we use here is we use a 6 mil plastic, and we have separated our main garage from the third car garage with this plastic. And so it holds the heat in this area instead of trying to warm the entire garage. And it works really, really well. We use these 1x2s to secure it to the wall just so there's not a lot of weight on the plastic, so it prevents it from tearing. At the top, we just use duct tape, and it works really well. As long as we have those supports on the side to hold the plastic up on the sides, the top is just fine. There's not enough weight there. And so anyway, we just use 1x2s to secure that. If you don't have like a third car garage and you can take any section of your garage and just kind of box it in with some of this plastic. 6 mil works really good because it's a little more rigid, that we found out. And so that is what we use here. As you can see, we're getting ready to build our bulk casting 1-ton totes. I'm going to do a video on how we build those, but this is now when we start to really dig into composting so that we have some compost to provide for our neighbors here and also to provide for the nurseries as part of our business. And so we find that we end up giving most of our castings away though, and it's just awesome to see people's gardens after we do that. So over here, very simple. As you can see, we've got seed mats under most of those. But in addition to that, like this time of year where the seed mats are not on because it's not cold enough, but I do have one of these oil-filled heaters. I have one of them in here, and we're talking about a fairly good space. If I go all the way back here, which I'm not all the way back, you can see it's a big space, and that little heater right there warms it up. Now it does increase your energy bill a little bit, but it keeps them healthy in here, and like I said, you'll be able to produce a lot of castings in any type of setting that you can keep them warm throughout the winter time. And so it is as simple as that. And so we just section it off, section a little area off to keep the heat kind of contained. And then we use the heater there, and then seed mats when it gets really, really cold and the heater doesn't keep up. The seed mats take very little energy. And so we transfer over to that instead of the oil heater when we need to, just to save on energy costs there. So all right. Well, if you guys have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. This is what we do. You can, if you're ready to set up your own composting bin, we have worms on our website, www.utahworms.com. And if you have any questions or you get into a spot where you're second guessing yourself, raising worms should never be stressful. It should be a fun experience. And so if you get to that point, reach out to anybody that is a mentor for worms, and make sure that you get the answers that you need, because it should never be stressful. It should be a really fun and exciting experience. So my phone number is 435-650-3308, and you're more than welcome to reach out at any time. So if you would be willing to subscribe to our channel and hit the little bell, it'll allow you to learn about new videos that we post when they come around. So anyway, thank you for watching. Thanks for your support. And hopefully this excites you to start composting throughout the winter. So have a good one.